What's up guys? Phil here with Average Guy Golf. We're going to be filming a series of videos on the fundamentals of golf. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at your grip. So if you're unsure how you should be gripping the club, or if you just feel all around uncomfortable with the way that your grip holds the club, stay tuned because we're going to try and get that all worked out for you. All right, everyone. So when it comes to grip, there are three essential elements to gripping the club. The first is the position of the club in your hand. The second is the position of your hand on the club. I know that sounds a bit confusing. Don't worry, we'll get to it. And the third element of gripping the club is, of course, how strongly you grip the club. So let's start with the position of the club in your hand. When you first start golfing, or if you're self-taught, you tend to have the habit of positioning the club in your hand too high vertically. And when you do so, you can see that it creates some extra wiggle room at the base of the handle that creates a lack of control in your swing. What you actually want to do is position the club where the top of the club rests about the base of your pinky and it runs down to the middle joint of your forefinger, of your index finger rather, and you want to hook your index finger around and position your thumb down the shaft. Now don't worry too much right now about your thumb position. We'll get into that in the next section. And for your bottom hand, regardless of what type of grip you use, you generally do the same thing. You lay the club across the base of your pinky finger, down to the middle joint of your index finger, hook it around, and lay your thumb down the shaft. But this is the part where it gets a little bit confusing for a lot of golfers. Which grip should you use? Basically, there are three common grips that golfers use, and we're going to discuss each of them in their own merit. Those three grips are the overlapping grip, the interlocking grip, and the baseball grip. And I'll show you what each of those look like here. So you have the overlapping grip, which is where you rest your pinky in between your pointer finger and middle finger of your top hand. The interlocking grip, where you lock your pinky in between your index finger and your middle finger on your top hand. And the baseball grip, also known as a 10-finger grip, where you rest your hands on top of each other to generate your swing. Now each of them has their own pros and cons. We'll start with the overlapping grip, which is the most popular grip among professional golfers and is really popular actually among everybody. The majority of tour professionals in the PGA do use the overlapping grip, which again is where you just rest your pinky in between your pointer finger and your middle finger on your top hand. And for the most part, this is the easiest one to wrap your head around, and it works pretty well. And actually, this is the swing, or this is the grip that I'm working to start switching to now because I'm having a hard time with what is our next grip, which is the interlocking grip, where, as I mentioned before, you lock your pinky between your pointer finger and your middle finger. So one thing that's really unique about this particular grip, the interlocking grip, is that probably the two greatest golfers of all time use this grip. Both Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, who between them have won 33 majors, use the interlocking grip. Take that for what it's worth. If you have smaller hands or weak forearms, the interlocking grip is going to be really good for you. It gives you more stability. But if you have bigger hands, then the overlapping grip might work just fine for you. I personally learned the interlocking grip to begin with because my dad taught me how to play golf, and in his lifelong quest to improve his golf game, he probably saw some video tutorial about how Tiger Woods uses the interlocking grip and decided to use that for himself. Last grip is not as popular for a lot of golfers, particularly not professional golfers. However, you have seen some people use it. There's some guys on the tour who've gotten several wins that use this grip, and again, you just set your hands on top of each other for that. What that's really good for is generating a lot of power, but it leaves a lot of space for a lack of control of the ball. All right, so next let's talk about the position of your hands on the club. This is another area where I was taught wrong, or perhaps I just learned wrong. So when I started golfing not too long ago, I was under the impression that you wanted your thumb to be pointing straight down the middle of the shaft, with your bottom hand on top of that also pointing straight down the middle of the shaft. Now, years later after I've been playing, I'm told that that's completely wrong. The reason for that is that with your thumb pointing straight down the middle of the shaft, you're creating what is called a weak grip, which tends to generate slices. Does that sound familiar? So if you're doing that, keep in mind that's probably why you're slicing it. It tends to have the club face come open more, which generates the slices. What you ideally would like to do, and we'll zoom in on it here so you guys can check it out, is when you grip the club, as we mentioned before, you want to turn your hand over so that when you grip the club, the V in between your thumb and pointer finger points up to the right ear, assuming you're a right-handed golfer. And then your bottom hand will come along, and whichever grip you use, it doesn't matter, it will point just a little bit more to the right, so probably somewhere towards your right shoulder. Now, the reason that you do this is because it typically creates the most consistent club face and helps you strike the ball square on the face more often than not. Now, there are plenty of professionals who use a weak grip or who use what's called the neutral grip that I was just discussing. There are even guys who use a more aggressive, strong grip. Guys like Dustin Johnson, who just really get out there and whack the ball. But if you're not a particularly good golfer, this super strong grip is going to be really hard to control. And while you can generate a lot of power with it, you're likely to make more mistakes. So the last element of gripping the club has to do with actually how strong you grip the club. And this is one of the elements of the grip that has always been really weird to me, because when you talk to people about it, they always say weird things like, pretend you're gripping a baby bird and you don't want to squish it. Or pretend that you're holding an egg and you don't want to crack the egg while you swing. Well, I don't know about you guys. I've never held a baby bird in my hands like that. Additionally, I've never found an egg that was shaped like a golf club. So it's really, the analogy is a bit lost on me. However, my advice there would be grip the club as tight as you feel that you need to grip it, not to throw it. Now, mind you, there are plenty of times to throw your club. Like, for example, when the 17th hole has taken your last 6 balls in the water hazard, and you think that your club deserves to go chase after them. I agree. Pro tip, carry a broken club in your bag so you don't have to waste your money throwing a good club in the lake after the 6 balls you just hit in there. But in any case, the time to throw your club is certainly not in your backswing, and probably not in your follow-through either. So, grip the club as tight as you feel you need to grab it, just not to let it fly when you're swinging. Your brain, and therefore your body, naturally will tighten your grip as it feels appropriate when you're about to perform the act of actually hitting the ball. General rule of thumb, though, is if you're in the rough or in the sand, maybe grip it a little bit tighter. If you're on the green, you don't have to grip it that tight at all. You want to let it have a free swing. And if you're on the tee box or in the fairway, somewhere in between. Cool. So we've talked about the most essential elements of gripping the club, which is the first thing you do when you step up to the first tee box at every golf course you're ever going to play at. So if there was anything in this video that you learned or that you liked, please be sure to like this video and leave your comments about whatever you learned or whatever I got way wrong, or anything that you hated for that matter, in the comments below. Also, if you like the content we're putting out here at Average Guy Golf, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button so that way you can find out whenever we post a new video and you don't miss anything. As I mentioned, we're going to be posting a little series on the fundamentals of golf. This is about grip. We're going to be doing a video on your stance, a video on alignment, a video on swing and follow through, and the small things you can do to make your game a little bit better. Additionally, if you haven't had a chance yet, please feel free to check me out on all other social media platforms. I'm on Facebook at Average Guy Golf, Instagram at average_guy_golf, and Twitter at AVG Guy Golf. You can also check out my website, averageguygolf.net, where I have the same content that we have here, plus you'll be able to read some of the blogs that I've posted in the past, including one about why golf needs Tiger Woods if you're interested in that. Anyway guys, thanks again for stopping by. This has been Phil with Average Guy Golf. I'll catch you guys later.